G'day. Today's something a little bit different, something new for me. First time I've did it. I'm not going to lie and pretend I'm an expert, but I've got some quike yeast here, Kveik yeast, Hornindal, whatever you want to call this one, left over from my last ferment. And unfortunately, it's another story. It's going to be the last ferment in the Fermentosaurus. It's past its use by date. The valve's leaking. It's had a good service. I bought that when it first came out. It's a few years old now, but it's just about at the end of its line. And unless Kid can come to the party and send me one to test, that'll be the end of me Fermentosauruses. Anyway, I collected this via the usual method. I did leave it there till the end of the ferment. I racked off my beer into the keg. This was still connected, and the valve wasn't shut. And a couple of times a day, I'd just sort of degas it, nearly all of it, 99.9% of the gas out of the Fermentosaurus. So this sample here, what was left, wouldn't be carbed. Because if anyone's tried to do it, when you ferment it under pressure and you take these off under pressure, every time you open this or it warms up or it all foams out. And I'm pretty lucky this one, I've done it right, it's not foaming out anywhere. I don't want to spill it while I'm talking. It's already starting to get a bit shaken up there. I've got a few things here, some baking paper and some paper towel. I'll show you how I'm going to do it, but I think you put this under the baking paper to stop it probably burning on the bottom. I don't think it would absorb any liquid. We'll get there anyway. I'm not sure what I'm going to need. I've got a spoon and I've got this little thing. I don't even know what that is. Something like a cake scraper or maybe a freezer cleaner. I don't know. But I found it in the drawer. I've got a tray, I've got a star sand, and we're just going to go for it and see how we go. I've checked the oven out. I'll show you some footage. I couldn't do it with the door ajar or shut. It was a 40-50 and going above it degrees. I don't know if that's a bit too hot for it. Everything I've seen says 30 to 40 degrees sort of thing. So with my oven door wide open on the very lowest, even though it says my oven only goes to 50, it's tending to sit around 28 to 35, 34 degrees. So I think that's pretty good. I hope it's not going to take too long at that temperature, but we'll soon find out. I've got some things here that, I've sprayed them with Star San and dried them before, but so I don't get people complaining that I haven't sanitized. They've been cleaned and sanitized already. That's a clean tea towel, of course. I've got a tray here. They say to put paper towel on the bottom. I have a feeling, because I don't think that's going to soak up anything. It's more to, that was a lucky fit. It's more to do with maybe keeping the paper off the bottom of the tray, because it might sit on a really hot shelf in the oven and maybe get too hot maybe. Got some baking paper. I'll put the baking paper on there. I'm going to push it down like that. I know it's going to pop up a bit, but I'm hoping it's going to stay. And I had a sort of idea before with these little magnets that I might be able to just sort of stick them on there to help keep it in place. I don't know if it's going to work or not. And a fan force oven so it doesn't blow it. Hopefully, if I do something like that, that'll stay in place better. I haven't seen anyone do that. There you go. I'm a thinker. All right, so I'm going to put that aside and just pull this saucepan over. I'm going to try to pour off liquid of this without trying to make too much of a mess. I'm going to pour a bit of the yeast off. I don't care. I want to get to the thicker slurry at the bottom. I think that will probably do. I reckon I could probably do 2 trays. I'm only going to do one. I've got a fair bit here. I'm not going to go right to the bottom of this because there's probably some yeast and shrub at the bottom. And I want to sort of thin it out pretty thinly. That's probably going to be enough. I don't know whether to use the spoon or this spatula thing. The spatula thing will probably be alright. Maybe I've put out too much. I reckon it'll probably smooth out okay. Try and get it even, I guess, so it dries evenly. I know my oven gets hot on the sides of the trays. I don't know if that's every oven, but I just don't know what we're going to do. Maybe I've put too much in here. I guess we're going to find out. It's going to take forever to dry. I might take some out. A bit hard to get it. If someone bakes cakes and does icing, you might be better at this than me. Oh, there's a bit of a rise in the middle. That's where I'm having troubles. I reckon I've got too much. I might take some out. I think that's going to have to do. I'm not very good at smoothing it out. It's got that rise in the middle, which I'm not liking. All right, I'm just going to go with that. I'm a bit disappointed about that's the paper towel underneath. I probably shouldn't have touched that then, but anyway. I might just sort of push it away from that, where it thins out at that rise, so it's all sort of even thickness along the way. I'm going to try and keep that over there. I'm going to try and clean that lump off because I think it'll burn. All right, that's going to do. I'll whack it in the oven. See how we go. All right, we're there in the oven. I haven't turned it on obviously because it is a fan forced and it's a bit noisy. I haven't changed the temp dial, so hopefully the temp's going to stay the same. And we'll just try it, eh? I didn't show that on camera then, but I just went over the top of that with the back of that spoon I had. That was what I was first going to use, and I probably should have stuck with it because I sort of got it a lot smoother. It might be hard to tell. But it's 1 PM. The daughter's home at 4:30. Let's hope I can get that dried out in 3.5 hours. Sorry for the noise. But I did bump the temp a little bit. It's still very cool coming out. But I shut the door up a bit. It just didn't look like I was moving anywhere, and I'm impatient. But it's nowhere near hot. It's actually feeling like it should have. It was like I was measuring 30 before. It's only been just over an hour. But it's starting to thicken up. That's called it a 4. I put them in at 1. So that's nearly 3 hours. So it was a little bit longer picking up my daughter than I expected. And like, these things aren't hot. So before people think I've got this oven hot. They're not hot. They're not much warmer than the body temp. It hasn't dried up too much. It's gone really thin. That's still damp underneath. So maybe I'll... You know what I'll do? I think I might just leave it out overnight like this. So I left that out overnight just down in one of the back rooms where no one goes in the house, a spare room, and let it dry. By morning, it was quite dry. I put on some rubber gloves just to keep my dirty hands off it. And just weighed it out. I know they suggest, around 5 grams or something for a batch. But, I was just weighing it out. I put in about 4 grams in each bag.
I was just interested to see how much of the dry matter that 5 grams actually was. But I figured I wasn't going to have very much. So I just sort of made them up to about 4 gram bags. Now this piece here is still moist underneath, so we'll just leave that for later. The rest was nice and dry. I just want to mention it's got quite an odd aroma. I didn't dry hop this beer, so it's not like it's old hops. There could have been a tiny little bit carry on over from the kettle to the fermenter, but I really didn't get the bottom of that yeast out, so it was only sort of the top of that yeast cake. So I think it's just the smell and aroma of the yeast. I got 3 or 4 packs out, and so what I'm going to do, if anyone wants to have one of these packs to try out for themselves, I'd suggest making a starter first, but someone can put their name down the bottom and I'll randomly choose someone out to win a pack. So that's it for this part of the video. I'm going to do a test in a starter with that little bit that I showed you before, and winner chicken dinner. If anyone wants to try this stuff, comment below, like, share, subscribe, all that thing, and I'll pick out someone randomly. I don't know if I'll be able to send this international. It's probably not worth it. But so Australia, maybe New Zealand, will that get past your border force? I don't know. But at least in Australia, let me know. Say you want to be in the comp and someone can try brewing with this. I should do the test first, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll do the test today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreons. Thanks to everybody else. Cheers.